Irish, and I
couldn't resist the when Irish eyes are smiling, did you? No, no.
I'm sorry.
Did you expect me to come out dressed in green, did you?
I'd like
Well, Tura Lura Lura, Michael Parkinson, it's a pleasure to be here. How are you?
Yes, I'm very well indeed. I mean, but does it help being Irish, being a funny man?
There are some accents that just seem to work for comedy, you know, and this seems to be that kind of, you know, story spinning kind of thing. There are harsher voices than this.
Well, it is a lovely lilting accent and language, and I mean the Irish, of course. I mean they're born to use words in many ways, and
it's a very polite way of putting it. We talk shite essentially at a rate of knots, and in a way you find surprisingly charming. So as long as you keep paying us to do it, we'll keep selling you the same shite. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Now, listen, what about heroes? We're talking about heroes, about this Coach Carter, and I mean, who were your heroes or have been your heroes?
God, in comedy, you're talking people.
Well,
like,
all right.
In comedy, frankly, I can't get over the fact that that's Samuel L. Jackson beside me here, right? You know, the notion of if you know the whole you asked earlier, if I'd have told you many years ago, like that, and you, what the hell am I doing here? So frankly, no, I'm among heroes of this. And in comedy, coming over to London the last while, you're just sitting you're with the heroes all the time. Paul Merton, Stephen Fry, these people, just sitting in with these people.
Well, then what about heroes who are not comedians?
You draw from all sorts of places, I'd imagine. You do look at, like, I mean, I did a show recently about within my own family. I had a grandmother who fought in the Irish War of Independence.
She fought in it?
She fought in the Irish War of Independence back in 1919, and then lived to a ripe old age, and then when she passed away, it was a military funeral. Like, and you do sit at your granny's military funeral going, Jesus, I hardly knew her. And you're going, it's my granny, but there are men with guns over the grave, and you're going, oh, respect to the grandmother. And it was just bizarre, like, whatever. Stories that we had never been told, because it was of the generation. I presume that the Second World War generation did that as well. Fought the war, came back, raised the families, and didn't really go on about it that much.
That's right.
And she did that, like, whatever. And stories come out later about the British Army trashed my great-grandmother's house on Christmas Day, presuming that there were soldiers hidden there. Ripped up the beds, ripped up the floorboards, tore down the eaves of the house, went to the Christmas pudding, which is sitting on the table, and stabbed the Christmas pudding repeatedly with bayonets on the grounds that there may have been bullets hidden in the Christmas pudding, right? That my great-grandmother would have taken live ammunition, wrapped it in dough, and put it in an oven for 4 hours, right? And then served it up on the table, right? Saying, try the Christmas pudding, there's a ferocious kick-off at this year. And that's how they trashed it. So,
Oh, a wonderful exotic thing to have, though. Now, that's a wonderful...
It's a fabulous thing to have in the background. And I used to counterpoint with the fact that my generation, we haven't been called on to do that. And we talk about anything we've done. Like, if we've done a day Formula 1 driving, we go on about it for a month and a half, like, whatever. If we do any kind of paid adventure, you know, these kind of day-outs you do. I was offered a skydive once, which is probably where I drew the line, because it was a tandem skydive I was offered, and I thought that is no way to die.
What else in the daring do?
God, see, there was a phase before I turned 30 where I did loads of these things, like, whatever, and all of them, like, never with any huge gift for them. I just felt I should... There's a list in your head that, as a young man, you feel you should tick off, things to do before you die, right? Surfing, for example, I did once in Australia. Have you ever done it? Have you ever gone?
No.
No, it looks glorious, right? You see the lads out there, you see them skimming across, flat as a pancake, they're waving to each other, they're shaking hands as they go past on the board.
See any black lads out there?
Relatively few, to be honest. You're quite sensible about it. Like, but equally, I thought, this is going to be a dot. Look at them, this is easy, right? I couldn't even get the surfboard from the board rental area at the edge of the beach all the way to the water without having to stop halfway down, plant it in the sand and go, Jesus, it's a lot heavier than it looks, they say, right? And even when we got into the water, you're thinking, this will be a doddle. I'll get up on the board and the waves will gently wash me into shore, right? So I got up on the board, I jumped onto the board, and the feckin' thing started dropping into the water, right? Dropping down. It's not as buoyant as it's made out to be, right? And even though when you get into it, it's like wrestling an eel or something. The thing just, it's wet, and it's made of whatever, plastic. It flashes out of your hands every second, which is bad news, because when they rent you a surfboard, they strap it to your leg. So when it goes, you go with it, right? The thing went, and I was going, Jesus, out the board. And I came back, I dragged the board back. There's a bloke behind me, and he was there, dreadlocks, tats, the whole thing, board under his arm, laughing at me. And I'm going, you can't do that. I'm new to this. This is clear, there's an etiquette. You've got to support me in this. Right, well, I'm going to master this if it kills me, right? Went back into the water, right? Thinking, here we go, I'm going to get this now if it kills me, right? Quick tip, right? If you're ever in the water, you're about to surf, and you see a wave approaching, what you're supposed to do is you break the wave with the pointy end of the board, right? You don't do what I did, which is hold the board up flat towards the approaching wave in an effort to somehow deflect the Southern Ocean away from myself. Right? Like a judo master, I'd use my timing and go flick, and the whole ocean would go wah, and fall, right? I managed to harness the entire gravitational pull of the moon onto my own head. It was gone, right? The underside of a surfboard has 3 razor blades stuck onto it for no good reason other than to take the head off a small child. It's lashed, it's cutting me. I'm bleeding, which is a bad thing to do in the waters off Australia, right? I'm beginning to lure sharks onto Bondi Beach, and I think I've got to get out of here. I look at your man's still standing there, still in tears, laughing at me at this stage, right? I pick up the board, I walk past your man, and I just kind of go, oh, you know, which is the international symbol for I give up, right? And this is a completely true story. Your man looks at me, and in the thickest accent I have ever heard in my life, just goes, Jesus, we Irish aren't cut out for this shit at all,
That is brilliant.
He hadn't even gone into the water. He just rented the board to have a photograph taken to send back to his family at home. God, this is me with the board, like, oh, unbelievable.
Also, too, I read in research, you went swimming with dolphins too, didn't you?
Oh, man, that was hideously bad. Have you done that?
I've not at all. I mean, one's attracted to that notion of that sort of symbiotic relationship between man and beast.
Oh, you think it's going to be glorious?
You do?
Right?
Well,
I got into the animal. I got into the water with the animal. I put my hand on the fin of it, right? You're supposed to go with the animal, right? It's supposed to draw you across the water. This lad kicked, right? And we went nowhere. And you could see the dolphin with its enormous, legendary large dolphin brain going, Jesus, this is no 8-year-old I'm dragging today. Right? So the dolphin kicked again in a huge way, and we took off. And I was expecting that glorious communion between man, where you'd be on one leg waving to the people on the shore. Right? You'd be steering them in and out of things, right? We chugged like a barge from one end. It wasn't even fast enough to keep me skimming. I started sinking underneath the water, right? He was drowning me for about 30 seconds. And every so often he'd turn to the other dolphin in the compound and just go... And the other dolphin would look at him and go, I know. I got his girlfriend. You're in trouble now.
That's wonderful. Now, what about, I mean, quite obviously growing up as you did with the background that you had and growing up in Ireland, you're bound to grow up with the problem, the troubles and all that, the IRA.
That was, it didn't affect, I'm in Dublin, so it didn't affect you that directly.
No, but I mean, you've toured around and
I have,
to places where, if you, I suppose, bring the subject up, you hit a nerve. Do you have to be careful?
Listen, you either A, are careful, depending which part of Belfast you're in, or B, you go for it. And you play it up, because if you're in the orange part, you have to dance around a bit. If you're in the green part, they have the darkest sense of humour in Belfast, that part of it. I mean, for example, I tell the story about my grandmother, who was a member of what we in Ireland call the old IRA. Nothing to do with the IRA you've been hearing about for 30 years. A completely different Republican force, and all disbanded and all that kind of stuff. But that still causes confusion. There's a man in Glasgow during one of the gigs, got up when I was talking about this and just said, you should be killed, and walked out of the gig. Yes. Shocked. And you're kind of going, hang on now. My granny was 100 when she died. Her war was over 80 years ago. Yes. At no stage when we grew up did the phone go off and my granny went, what? I'm back on. All right. And then I have to walk over and daub her back onto the face again. Right there. Stuff like that's kind of weird. In Liverpool, strangest one ever, right? Did a gig in Liverpool. A man came up to me, squaddy type. Now, an army boy, very well built, stocky, shaven head, came up to me and cornered me at a bar, right, in a club in Liverpool. And you're going to go, what's going on here? And the lad leans in. This is a completely true story. Leans in and goes, that's very interesting. I don't do the accent, by the way, but in the Liverpool accent, right? Goes, that's very interesting about your granny. And I said, oh, really? Do you think so? And he goes, yeah, because I had 2 friends who were stationed in the north, and they were killed over there. Right? Now, that's exactly the response I had, right? A big thought bubble with nothing in it, right? Just looking at this going, well, there's no amount of Irish charm is going to talk my way out of this situation, right? There's no amount of, oh, isn't it an awful, awful, awful thing, begar and bejays, right? I'm not going to be able to smooth talk my way out of this, right? I'm going, what am I going to do to get out of this situation? And your man leans in further, right? And I'm genuinely quite nervous of the situation. And he goes, I've got 2 friends who were killed over there. They were in an army truck, and a tree fell on them. And I looked at this guy and I said, are you about to tell me that the IRA planted it? And your man leans in and goes, yeah, have you heard that one before, have you? I had evacuated myself. That's right.
You mentioned there the fact that, I mean, traditionally people in stressful situations, and God knows people who live in Northern Ireland live in a stressful situation, find great relief in humour.
They do, absolutely.
You have to laugh at it.
You have to. You'll find it in the darkest situations. And when you gig over there, it is actually a joy. I mean, they've produced a number of great comics, all of whom have directly addressed the issue. If you hang out with firemen, you'll find this. If you hang out with doctors, they all have a tendency for quite a black sense of humour. It's a valve for them.
Yes.
And in Northern Ireland, you would find stuff that you'd say, and it would burn your ears if you're not from. You go, you can't say that. Immediately a big news story breaks, they're out there, and they're just basically pricking the balloon all the time and letting the air out of it.
What's the best joke in that area that you've...
Listen, there's the one, see, the IRA planted is it was the one that we all had in school. The greatest joke ever in Ireland about Ireland, and it isn't my joke, right? I'd make no claims for having written this. If you send it to your friends, pass it on. Classic joke, it turns up, people have been telling it for years, but I don't think over here as much, is man walking down the street in Belfast at the height of the Troubles, gets dragged into an alleyway. Someone puts a gun to his head and the voice behind him goes, are you Catholic or Protestant? Man, thinking quickly, goes, neither, I'm Jewish. Voice behind him goes, wow, I must be the luckiest Arab in Belfast. My joke, take it, go, the gift. Greatest joke about Ireland in Ireland. As a child, we all got that one.
How did somebody who studied mathematics become a stand-up comic? I mean, there's no link between the two.
There isn't, and I got chased out of the mathematics department because of it. I was a very poor student of mathematics. I loved it, had a passion for it. Always loved just the big picture element of it all, the shape of the universe. I'm sitting next to a Jedi Knight, for Jesus' sake. Just that whole element of the wonder of it and the large... But it is extremely difficult to do and very thorough and demanding. Like, those guys I admire. People who stuck at that, who didn't take the easy way out of becoming a stand-up comedian, right? The rest of the class, those are heroes. I have to say.
You're touring at present.
I am. I'm dragging, which is a joy, obviously, to be up and down the country. And Yorkshire, by the way, you're a Yorkshireman. Always the finest crowds, I have to say.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're not just saying that?
No, I'm not. Although I would.
Of course you would.
Of course I would. I'm so going to play the game with you, Michael. Right? It's fantastic. It's great. I was in Hull last week for it, and it was just they won't shut up, which makes the show like whatever we did. A guy who just bought a boat and hadn't yet to sail. A guy who's a greeter for a supermarket, and we went, oh, you're good. And he said, I'm a really good greeter. He said, what's your greeting? He said, you all right? And we're going, oh, that's very impressive. That kind of messing around, like and so that kind of stuff makes the show. I'm doing that. I'm in Manchester next week. We'll get the same out of that in the Lowry, hopefully, at the weekend. And in the West End. I've got to do a West End.
Are you? Playing where?
I'm in the 10th of April in the Palace Theatre. Sunday the 10th of April. I'm doing a first proper big West End show. If you're going along, don't be scared by the theatre. I want to talk to you.
I should be there. I should be there. I think
you're buying a ticket, by the way. You're not getting it for free, right?
OK, Dara Ó Briain, thank you very much indeed.